We're going to open up a Q&A session. If you have any questions for Yuge, please raise your hand.
Yeah. How many hours a night do you sleep?
Well, it really depends on where I am. Yeah, at Oxford, especially during formal host guest nights and some crazy events, I sleep very little because I'm too excited to chat up with other people. And sometimes if I travel and the jet lag forces me to sleep like more than 10 hours. Yeah. I hope this answers your question.
Does anyone else have a question?
Yeah.
Andrew, yeah, go first.
I'm very interested in your work, how you combine the technical science and engineering with the social and economic sciences which are necessary for what you're doing.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Actually, when I was an undergrad in Tsinghua University, we have very systematic training in engineering. And I also got the chance to conduct a lot of fieldwork and pilot projects with my professor in rural areas. And in rural areas, we found that a lot of energy efficient technologies will not only available, but also affordable. But still, there are barriers in terms of policy and social conditions that did not allow the technology penetration in the local level. That's how I became interested in the sociological and economic perspective of this topic. And Oxford provide me with this multidisciplinary environment to pursue my interest of study.
Have you been able then to feed those social and economic skills back into the science and technology?
Yes, in rural China, we had several pilot projects to implement solar roofs on the households of rural areas. So we have studied that study in 2006, when at that time we had a movement of new rural construction in China, and now it is still going on. So that's the background of my study now. Yeah, the field work. Yeah.
Thank
you very much.
Are there any more questions?
We were very interested over here to hear about your travels alone at 10. Could you give us some more details of how you travelled, what you did for money, what you decided to go and see, whether there was an itinerary prepared by your parents or you were free to go wherever you wanted?
Yeah. My parents had a very unique philosophy that because our generation, most of us are single child, so he said that in the future you have to rely on your friends and your experience to compete with others in the world, because you don't have the huge family, because China was a very family-oriented society, so we rely a lot on kinship, on families in the society. But now, from our generation, we don't have it. We don't have that advantage anymore. So he encouraged me to go to the world to make friends and to find your partners in careers for the future. So the practicality of the journey was like that. I became a small journalist when I was 8 years old. So I started writing and publishing about my studies. Since 8 years old. So a lot of, at that time we didn't have internet. So small kids from all over the country used to write to me in letters and invite me to their home. So in 2000, when I was 10 years old, I accepted the first invitation, and I keep on writing all of my journals and keep on publishing. So I keep on receiving all the invitations. So we will, my parents and I will plan the journey based on the invitations. So that's a mode of my traveling along across China.
Are there any more questions for Yuge?
Right. I think the China-Indian relationship is always very funny. And to many Chinese, they think the biggest threat is not from America, it actually will come from India. and to many Indians, that's the whole same will. So what do you can do to improve the China-Indian relationship?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. I was waiting for this question to be raised because I have only 10 minutes. So yeah, actually, the thing I realized, because this time when I back to India to conduct my research, I was for the first 2 months I got an international fellowship from a very famous foreign policy think tanks in India. So I got the chance to get exposed to the foreign policy and more policy cohort compared to my days in JNU that was more to the academic work, and I could fear this threatening and not this very negative views from the policy cohort towards China, and the data shows that more than 85% of the Indian general public hold negative views towards China, and the same vice versa. In China, the same data is the whole negative views to the Indian, and to us, I feel like that. The public opinions in today's world play a more and more important role in shaping the discourse of foreign policies. So that we should work first on person-to-person contact because we don't really know each other, especially from the Chinese side to from China to India. Because when I toured across China for my book launch, and I got a lot of very interesting questions from the Chinese audience. They will ask me very serious questions like, how can India exercise democracy with such an unequal and caste-embedded society? Do you think it's going to happen in China? Or that kind of questions. So I feel like there is a concern about the other, a strong concern about the other from both countries, but it hasn't been really cultivated yet. So as grassroots diplomats, we as foreign students had already to form projects like Oxford Juxtaposed projects, and we have composed music and write books and made art books like paintings to express this desire and our understanding about the mutual understanding of the two sides. And this time in September in New Delhi, we are going to show all of this creative and academic, not all of, part of this creative and academic work. And I hope that this gentleman would join us and give us precious comments.